Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brett Mulligan. I'll be discussing security-investment relationship, specifically the quantitative relationship between the cost of security improvements and the degree of additional security achieved. My apologies for not being able to make it live. Just a brief overview. I'll be talking about previous work, recent developments, current technologies and products, and influential groups. First off, it's a pretty complex calculation since cost is usually intertwined and difficult to isolate from a lot of different aspects of an organization. And improvements just about equal, difficult to quantify, especially in security. So it seemed like in this area you'll see a lot of researchers go to return on investment or internal rate of return as alternatives. That's exactly what the early research did. The Gordon and Loeb 2002 paper called The Economics of Information Security Investment came up with the Gordon-Loeb model. Big takeaways for that one are that security expenses should be proportional to the value of the data being protected and the probability of a breach. We'll call this V a probability of security breach. And they showed that an ideal investment in security was 37% of the expected loss over a given time period, which is usually a year. Here this Z as a function of the probability of a breach is the investment level, and Z star being the optimal investment level. 1 over E is a constant, and then this L value is the potential loss, so like the total value of the information at a company or organization. Visually, as a graph over here on the right side, you'll see the expected benefit is this curve. Expected benefit to security as a function of the investment level, and the investment level itself is just this line here. So the net investment is the difference between the two, and Gordon and Loeb called this this point where it starts to decrease as a function of investment the ideal, and it should be noted as Z star as a function of probability of security breach. So that's the foundation. They've taken this model all the way to this year and tried to integrate it in their latest paper with the NIST cybersecurity framework. They came up with these investment and investment curves, and starting from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 on the right, it shows you given the value of the data being protected and the probability of breach, different values that you will need to achieve if you want to achieve those tiers, or different values you need to invest if you want to achieve those tiers. And all these figures are from the original papers. I didn't come up with any of this. The tech and influential groups, as we just discussed, are Gordon and Loeb for their geo model of cybersecurity investment. They're both at the University of Maryland, and then Bojank and Blazek wrote a paper on risk mitigation in cybersecurity based on the characteristics of that risk and what it's protecting. Ponemon Institute, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but they wrote another paper called The Cost of Phishing in 2017, which was sponsored by an anti-phishing training company, so take that with a grain of salt, but there's some good data there. And then just this year, MIT's CSAIL came up with the SCRAM project, Secure Cyber Risk Aggregation and Measurement, which pooled a bunch of risk data, or breach data for a lot of different organizations, and came up with 4 problem areas, those being port security, log management, asset inventory, and malware defense. So by pointing those 4 weak areas out, they hope to return or increase the return on investment for many different organizations, especially the ones that participated in that study. So those are the big groups doing a lot of work there. Just a summary and takeaways for this area of research is that it's a difficult metric, but there are alternatives. The Gordon-Loeb model is the foundation, and currently we have possible NIST framework integration with the work that they're still doing, but there's plenty of room for innovation. If you have any questions, I'll be on Teams and available via email. Thanks again. These are my references.